It's about the relationship of an agent and its customer and how to build a good relationship with them in order to find solution to the problem of the customers. But first, we need to have a clear understanding of the types of customers that we are interacting. First, we will draw a board here. And we will divide it into 4 sections. Sorry for the pentel pen. In this first quadrant belongs the types of customers that has a mindset of business as usual. These are the types of customers that they wanted to finish their business immediately in the company. And in this section is the vast majority of customers. A lot of customers belonging in this category. Almost out of 100% of the customers of a certain company, almost 60 to 50% belongs in this section. And a lot of repetitiveness. They always ask repeatedly the questions that some other customers are always asking. And also, checking the balance is one of the example of that, and a customer will call you then another with the same problem. So, this is also a high potential for standardization. High potential for standardization. What is this? High potential for standardization is that the company can create a rule and regulations on how to handle their customers in regards in this section. And that is the types of customers belonging in the quadrant number 1. Now let's move on in the quadrant number 2. Quadrant number 2 belongs in this section. Quadrant number 2. What are those types of customers? Quadrant number 2 is the predictable customers. Predictable customers. Let me elaborate it more clearly. Predictable customers. It is the customers that is easily to standardize. Hey, Lada. Can I borrow another pencil pen, please? Sorry. Just a moment, man. Oh, sorry for that commercial. Now, let's continue. Where are we now? This is the types of customers that are easily to standardize. As we will notice, in this quadrant number 1, the standardization in this quadrant is high potential. High potential, but it is not easily. And in this quadrant number 2, the standardization in this quadrant is easily to standardize. It is easier to make a standard in this quadrant. It is easy to make a rules and regulation on how to handle their customers belonging in this quadrant. Now, are we clear with that? We will move on to quadrant number 3. Quadrant number 3 belongs here. Quadrant number 3. What are the types of customers belonging in this quadrant? In this quadrant are the threats to the cost efficiency. The cost efficiency of the company. What are those types of customers? They are the customers that doesn't bother or doesn't care about the result of their problem. But since it is a query to the customers, the company need to pay attention for that. And they will ask the agents informally to address the problem. Sometimes they will ask 3 agents just to verify what kind of problems is the customer is asking, so that they could put an end to that. But one problem, 3 agents. The cost is very high for the company. They will use 3 agents, money, time, and effort just to find solution to the customer's problem. So that's why it is threats to cost efficiency. Next, the last quadrant is quadrant number 4. Quadrant number 4 belongs here. Okay, quadrant number 4. It is the most delicate customers in the company. What are those kind of customers? They are the customers that brings surprises, trials, and tribulations to the company. They are the customers that will ask or query to the company out of the context of the book. I mean, the agent is not prepared to answer the problem of the customer. Since he is not prepared, that is because the customer is a surprise one, the problem of the customer. Then the trials, sometimes the agent will test the credibility of his ability to handle the problem through trials, since he is handling a problem that is not new to him, or he is not used to handle. Then the tribulations, of course. So, let's move on. Quadrant number 4. In this side of the quadrant, I will draw an arrow here and here, and I will write the customer engagement. Customer engagement. In these two quadrants, on the right side of the blackboard, belongs the customer engagement. In this side, in the upper one, is the high standard customer engagement. They are high. They want an update to their problem. They want an update on their problem any minute, any second. And in this down lower is that the customers doesn't care too much about their problem. All they wanted to do is to ask, and it is to you, it is to the company's decision if when or where they will give the solution to that problem. Then, of course, in this side is the process standardization. In this left corner rather, is the high one. And in this side is the low. Okay, let me elaborate it more clearly. Process standardization. In this side is high. They could create rules and regulations on how to handle this customer, the customers belonging in this quadrant 1 and 2. While in this side, it is low. Low because the customers here are not expected. Just like the surprises customers, so that's why they cannot create a rule and regulation on how to handle them. So, let's move on. Now, since quadrant number 4 is at high stake to the credibility of the company, they created a solution. They find solution on how to handle the kind of customer belongings in this quadrant. Okay. Quadrant 4, solutions to the problem. First, actively engage with your firm and its mission. The agent should be actively engaged with the firm and its mission. The agent should implant in his heart that he is credible to handle the situation and he is credible to handle and to bear the name of the company that he is working for. And second is to enable to make the right decisions on their own. The agents holding this quadrant 4 customers should have their own decision. They should have self-confidence. In short, employees have to be not only willing but able. They should handle this professionally. They should have a wide understanding on every kind of situation in order to put an end to the problem of the customers in this quadrant. And so consider carefully whether your employees have the ability and authority to deal with quadrant 4 interactions on their own. You need to choose some of the cost of the agents who are capable enough, professionally enough to handle this kind of customers. Now, we will find solution to the quadrant number 1, 2, and 3. And also number 4, we can generalize the solution for all of this problem on how to deal with this kind of customers. Now, let's move on. First is the interaction phase. Interaction phase is very important to the customers. First is the reliability. Reliability. Identify solutions to achieve prospects and needs. The agent must be reliable enough to handle the situation. To handle the situation and the problem and the query of the customers. They should be reliable. The customers should feel in the voice of the agents that he or she has the power to address the problem, that he is reliable. And next is the assurance. Assurance, build trust and confidence in your ability to deliver, implement, produce benefits. Assurance or self-confidence, just like what I mentioned before. Self-confidence. An agent should possess this kind of self-confidence in order to be clearly minded on how to handle the situations. And the tangibles. Enhances and supports your message. Tangibles. The agent must show a tangible thing to the customer in order for the customer to continue believing to the ability of the agent to handle the situation. Next is the empathy. Confirms the understanding of the customer's prospects, business, and needs. Empathy, or in the other words, the agent must put his feet in the person's let me repeat it again. Or empathy, putting your feet in someone's shoes. Oh my. Oh, let me continue. So, the agent must feel the situation. He must the agent must sympathize with the customer. He should feel and know that the agent is caring for the customer. Okay, let us continue. Next is the responsiveness. Develops proposal in a timely manner. So, an agent must possess also a timely guidelines, timely output, timely speech, timely words for the customers in order for the customers to be pacified, whatever the situation or whatever the problem that he is suffering through. Next is the common sense. Common sense is the last but not the least, and probably the most important among the interaction phase of the agents and customers. Common sense is, if you have the common sense, you can identify immediately what the problem that the customer is figure outing for. Now, that's it, common sense. Hey, wait a minute, what time is it? Oh, let me continue a little bit more. Okay, I will also discuss the needs discovery. Types of questions. The types of questions. The agent is using types of questions in order to, approving questions in order to identify the problem immediately. Okay, next, first is the permission, close-ended. Permission is the questions that has close-ended in the last. Close-ended, what is it? Questions that could only answered by yes or no. The agent must ask customers, what time is it, man? 14. What? 20 seconds. Okay, let us continue yet. Time is gold. It's not yet done. So, fact needs discovery is the types of questions. There are 4 types of questions that the agent must use in order to figure out the problem of the customers. First is the permission, fact finding, feeling finding, checking questions. Anyway, that's it, 15 minutes.